we had a show for them, and then we had a trunk show for them last holiday period, and they've just become a part of the gallery. And when I thought this morning about maybe a few comments that I might want to make, my little mind went to this building. And this is the Hotchkiss building, and it was built in 1836. And it was the first of two buildings built after a fire burned everything on First Street. It was all on a wooden boardwalk. And so they incorporated a lot of the old buildings into this one. And I've always felt an aura here of creativity or whatever, but just because of the age of those bricks, and just, this is just, she's a very strong building. I call her a she. And so, you know, she's holding us here, and I've told Mary and Robin, my business partner, and Mary, there's no end to what this building can be. There's no end. And here we are today with a very, very special tribute. And so it can be more than a gallery. So I'm going to turn this over. First of all, thank you very much for coming. And I'll turn this over to someone that's doing a prayer. Right?
My prayer for you. Sorry.
Try again.
Take two. May you be held in compassion. May your pain and sorrow be eased. May your boundless heart be open. May you know the beauty of your own true self. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing to others. May you be at peace.
Oh, boy. Can't say your name.
So dear friend MT, who came in from California to join us. And, I'm Tracy, Allison's sister, and collaborator and co-conspirator for many, many years. And it's just a bitch. What we've been through. And I have to say that I'm going to speak a just born mind privilege that, and for me, that this has been a really, really good thing for us to have to do. Janine came to the house, and I don't know, we were going to decide if we would still continue with this trunk show. And so we started working on some things, and she saw what we were doing, and said, oh, the gallery's going to be empty, maybe you girls would like to have it. So we said yes, and we sort of dove in from there. And what we did was, for those of you who are stitchers and sewers, went through the piles and baskets of things that were hanging, scraps that were around, and just picked stuff out to start working with. So, I don't know, I'm just going to say that I worked with Al for many, many years doing collaborative work, and we had a business together. Another lovely friend from California who's here was very supportive with that, and all of this is really collaborative work. Either, you know, Midge and I chatting, and work that Allison had started, that I picked up, and work that Allison and I did in the 80s that was cut up and ripped apart and became other things. So I'm just briefly going to just talk a little bit about This piece is a piece that Al started, and I don't know, if some of you might have looked at this, but we took a class from Derek Gore, who does amazing collage, thank you. Collage. And Al decided ahead of time that she was going to do a self-portrait and started a piece before we got to the class. So this sort of explains that a little bit, and what she did in the class, and Midge and I knew that this piece was somewhere in the house unfinished, and I don't know, we took a couple times like going through trying to find it, and found it behind, and again, those of you who stitch or do things, you know, you have piles and stacks of drawers, and we finally found this kind of rolled up in a tube, and I finished it. And it was very challenging on many levels, you know. Like the eyes were kind of finished and staring at you the whole time and wanting to be worthy of it. And so anyway, this was a piece that I worked on over the summer and up in, I don't know, we finished it a little bit ago, but anyway. That's what this was. So if you're interested and haven't looked, this is a little explanation of that. These are the three pieces that Midge worked on, and either last winter or the winter before, I cut up. Allison and I made these two capes. They were folk art patterns, like back in the day, and so they were full-length capes. They were three big panels, and so they've been hanging in my closet forever, and I was like, you know what, time to get them out of the closet, as many of us, some of us in this room like to do. So it was time for these, and so I cut it up. This is the cape, so there's some pictures up here of what it looked like. This was the front of the cape, of the original cape, and these panels were these three panels were in the lining of the cape. So I had cut the thing up, and I sent the girls 2/3 of the cape, and I kept part of it. So when we decided to do this, Midge, I guess, had it in her mind to use these and for something, and they became sort of the focal point for her work. And she has been a stitching fool for months now. So, is that good? You want to say anything? For those of you who don't know, that's Midge over with the ukulele. These are sort of the three pieces that I don't know, I think of as my primary pieces for here. And again, we kind of went through baskets and piles. And I picked out these two faces and a piece of this that had this painted, just the black and white. The black on the white. So this was the first piece I did like that, and then wanted to sort of, I don't know what the word is, mirror sort of what was going on with this and these. And then this is another piece of that Allison had done, and I incorporated in that. This, a piece over here too that this was another thing where we were going through the baskets and I found this fabulous head. And that was not painted but completed. And then the base of this was like cardboard that had been wrapped in strips. So I took the, oh, and the hands were done too, wrapped in like bright yarns. So I took the pieces and put them together. this is what came out. The other piece I did also to mirror. So Allison did this head and the hands and sort of constructed the base of the body. So, I don't know what else to say. I mean, one of Midge's ideas in the show was to do 100 hearts to put out into the world. And those are, well, the world does.
The whole idea behind the hearts was that I knew this would be a gathering of hearts, and I wanted to have all of you represented some way. And some of these hearts are called hearts with a positive attitude because Allison, for this trunk show, we were going to have this small little trunk show, and she was doing all these little dolls that were called dolls with a positive attitude, and she said, will you help me make dolls? And I said, I'm really not good at dolls. So what we usually never, ever, ever do is make piles, like normal piles of fabric to like a factory type thing. But I wanted to do that so I could understand the construction. Well, we didn't get too far with the dolls, and then I had this pile. So a lot of the fabric that you'll see are layered, and it's all the different piles of the fabric. I just started cutting them into hearts. Then I was starting to run out of her heart fabric, and I started using Linda Willis's napkins and pot holders that she had given me.
This is our friend Linda.
Linda, who's one of our visiting artists, who's a contributor. And then when I ran out of that, I put out in Facebook, can some of you, if you have some fabric, you want to sew, people from all over the country started sending me fabric to be part of the show. So, and the other really cool thing was my daughter Elizabeth had put something on Facebook, send my mother hearts and flowers. Well, Linda gathered a whole bunch of artists, and in a lot of them you'll see maybe like some, what do you call it, paper type?
Paper fabric.
So those hearts came from different artists all over the country too. So it organically grew just like just about everything did. So it was kind of, and I also have a lot of friends who are sitting in this room right now who helped me during this healing process at the beach or at the house, whether they stitched or not. They were involved in learning how to stitch and wanting to stitch and wanting to be part of it. So, so while I have the floor, and I didn't think I was going to talk, but I took an extra Xanax, so I want to acknowledge, I know that as I see each and every face that's here, each of you loved Allison. And I know many of you traveled very far and spent a lot of money and time to be here. And our two daughters are here, Sarah and Elizabeth. And I want to thank them for being here, and our cousins on both sides of the family, the Italians and the Anglos, Jennifer and our cousins, Tracy too, and Jeff, and our other family members who are here today as well, and our dear friends from Rhode Island, and our local friends. My brother's here, and my nephew Jared's here, and my sister-in-law's here. Hernando, Joseph, we couldn't have done half of this during the 6 months without you. 8 months, you took care of our families. Thank you all for being here. Every one of you, it means the world to us, old and new. Thank you.
I want to say one thing. I just also want to introduce Linda. Our friend Linda worked with Allison and I when we had our business, Art Girls, and we had this little sign in a booth that said we needed help, and I don't know, I was out doing my little flitting around the shows that I was good at, and Linda came along and said she was looking for a job. This was a new Hampshire and we live in Rhode Island, and so she came and started working